What is going on? All right. Thank you all for joining. Sorry about the little delay. We've got some new software we've been playing with, so we're super stoked about that. If you guys comment in, we'll be able to see the comments. We've got our guests tonight. We've got Mr. Pete. Where you at? Pete. There you are. What up, man?
How's it going, sir?
Took me a second. I had to figure this stuff out here.
Hey, I'm
We were
not the
making
tech
sure
savvy. You're dealing with the wrong person when you're talking about tech savvy.
we're just making sure we get the video shared here to our pages. But yeah, man, what's going on? How have you been this fall? It's been a busy fall for you.
Busy. The deer season's winding down, so it's time to switch gears and get back into the plastics. And it's not too early to start thinking spring. You figure it's only what, man, 4 months away, really? You
Well,
possibly could be
and
on the river in 4 months.
for us, it's really less than that, right? Like we've got Thanksgiving tomorrow, and then in less than a month we've got Christmas, and then a month from that we've got the show. So you're what, about 8 weeks with a couple holidays in there, or New Year, and then a week after New Year it's the show. New Year's on a Thursday, and we're setting up for the show that Tuesday and Wednesday. So it's like that. You know what I mean?
Coming quick. A lot to get done in a short amount of time.
Well, for you. We gotta have a lot more plastics poured, dude.
That's tomorrow. I'll be eating pizza and pouring plastics tomorrow for my Thanksgiving. So
hey, you can't beat that, dude. You cannot beat that. So hey, we can't do one of these. I can't do one of these without getting into a little bit of fishing. You are a downriver fella, so you're fishing a lot of Lower Lake Erie. So I want to touch on a little bit of fishing, and then I really want to dive into this plastics thing with you, because it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the feedback has been really good for everything you've got going so far.
Yeah, it was last year. Wasn't quite sure if I was ready to jump into it, but dabbled into it a little bit, and the response has been great so far. So on to year 2.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I think it's important to know you've been selling them for a year, but you've been doing this plastics thing for a whole gig. So there's I don't want to, we could just roll right into it and talk about fishing later, because it's like, dude, these tracers are like crushing. It's a really good profile bait. The glide on it's really good, but it's something like, you've been pouring plastics for a long time and you've been in this business. You kind of helped me out with like my jig side of things. But now I think it's time where you can finally have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was 2012, I believe I started dabbling in the plastics game, and just, let me see what I can do, and let me see what I can make as far as, because I was making jigs, to start off with, and just tried to get into the plastics game, and just went out, and I think at the time, man, maybe there was only a few companies that was supporting the do-it-yourself plastics maker. You had Do It was, Lure Works was out there, MF Manufacturing was out there for the small guys, and very limited on molds. But now, man, sky's the limit with the molds, and Angling AI's got everything under the sun for bass fishermen, muskie fishermen, everything. And Dead On Plastics right down the street has got everything from all your plastisol needs, your glitter, your colorant. So it's really taken off over the last 3 years as far as the resources that are available to the do-it-yourself bait maker. So like I said, 2012 I really started, and didn't know what realistically what I was doing.
You know what I mean? Like, these guys are here. These guys, Dead On and like, these guys are here. They're like local. You're supporting. We talk about, it's huge in the bait shop. You see it with supporting local, but it's like the fact that you can like be able to do this, whether you want to do it for a living, you want to do it for fun, whatever. It's like these local companies are the ones that are here supporting you, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's phenomenal to realistically have those guys in the backyard, and if you need anything, they're just 45 minutes down the road, and they've helped me out a ton. So it's two great companies to work for and work with. Yeah. So, but yeah, their mold line is phenomenal, and like we said, I showcased the tracer last year at the show, and that went over very, very well. It was something a little bit different besides your just straight finesse minnow, or your straight split tail minnow. It had a little bit of beef to it, so
Another weapon in the
Once
toolbox,
I
dude.
saw when they rolled out with the 3-inch, I'm like, man, if they make that 4-inch, it's gonna be on. So
Talk about this bad lad.
yeah, that's the 3-incher.
Might as well. Oh, hang on. Let me use my media here to breaking news. So we're gonna have some 3-inchers at the show this year. So this is a 3-inch on a 1/2 ounce jig. This is a 3-inch on a 5/8 ounce jig. Still got plenty of action there. And then this is the action on a 3/4 ounce jig. So if you're digging those fish out of the deep, you had a funny saying when those elephants are eating peanuts. But yeah, dude. So along with the 4-inch, we're gonna be bringing out the 3-inchers. So that'll be pretty sweet.
Yeah, and you don't really need to be scared on putting like you got the 3-inch here. It's it's a substantially smaller. There's a huge difference in the 4 and the 3. But
Yeah.
you just showed that you can put a 3/4 ounce jig on a 3-inch bait, and maybe those days where them fish are really being finicky, that 3-ounce. I mean, my cousin caught his biggest fish ever on a Berkeley power minnow. That was 20 years ago on a 3-inch power bait,
Fish
and that
all the
was
way back then.
yes.
They've always been catching fish. And dude, that's the thing is like the 3-inch, it seems like our sport is going into like a finesse presentation, especially as pressure continues to increase. I mean, we see it happening a lot in the bass world. And that's one thing, like we talk about throwing this on like a 1/2 ounce jig and using it for like, casting, vertical jigging, obviously, especially when you're in that shallow water down by you in Detroit. But it's like it's a really good on a drop shot. It's really good for perch. It's really good for smallmouth. It is just like the 3-inch just kind of opens up it opens up your opportunities, I guess. And again, another weapon in the toolbox.
Yeah, that was basically, between you guys up there at the St. Clair system and all that stuff. You guys were really putting the 3-inch to test this season, and I really didn't dabble in it too much. I was kind of stuck to the 4-inch and the 3/8 rip wrap, but I mean, some of the pictures you were showing me with the drop shot and with the 3-inches, I think it's really going to turn some heads this year with people maybe downsizing a little bit when that bite is tough. So
yeah, and let's kind of get into a little bit of the fishing aspect of this thing. We talk about it quite a bit, but like Detroit River's getting cleaner. Like typically it's a dirty river, and I guess to say that after what happened last spring, I guess is kind of unfair because it was a mud pit down there. But
when wasn't it dirty
reality,
last spring?
What's that?
When wasn't it dirty last spring?
Dude, it was horrible. And that's a credit to Lake St. Clair.
East wind after east wind after east wind.
Oh, it was horrible. It would go from like the north and south, get it all stirred up, and then bam, east wind to flush it right down the toilet. But typically, like we've seen a lot cleaner water in Detroit the last, 4 or 5 years. And well, Don's right here. I don't know if can you see the comments coming through?
No.
All right, so I'll let you know what's coming through here. But Don just said scary clean, and it is true. So like we're used to it. I mean, we're used to water like that. You know what I'm saying? Up here on St. Clair, it's crystal clear. We're getting that Lake Huron water. But in Detroit, those fish are totally different. They act totally different. And in that cleaner water, I think finesse baits and natural baits, no matter what bait you're using, I think, smaller baits and natural baits are going to play a huge role moving forward.
And I've gotten so many more requests for a natural colored bait over the last a couple of years just because of that the Detroit River cleaning up. I mean, is there such thing as too clean of water on the Detroit River? I believe so. It's you want that good green. We always call it the big fish stain, where it's you can see your jig down maybe 1.5 feet, 2 foot, and then after that you kind of want it to fade away a little bit. But when you can see your jig down 8, 9, 10 foot, I mean, I remember 3 or 4 years ago, everybody struggled. As soon as the sun went up, the bite was over because the water, but you're seeing the bottom in like 14, 15 foot of water in the Detroit River, and it was crazy clean. So
yeah, it's not good. And it does, like any walleye fishery that's super clean. I mean, look at those fisheries like Alpena and Oscoda, or even like Big Bay or Little Bay Denok up there, and those super clean bodies of water. It's like, you see that for sure. And we see it in the river. I mean, it is so frustrating when the whipping bite is crushing it, or these guys are killing them offshore casting at night. And then I've got paying clients coming out the next morning. And as soon as that sun gets up, dude, done, like a light switch. But what's interesting is what I have noticed, we talked about a little bit in the last thing, is when those fish feed heavy overnight and that early morning bite kind of shuts right off, try and stick that thing out, dude. Because if you could wait till like 10, 11 o'clock, that midday bite can sometimes be fire.
Yeah, and then maybe get a little bit more aggressive with your tactics too to try to get those reactionary bites. You know what I mean? As far as, because the age old, way back in the day, everybody thought, well, color. I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole color thing. Maybe that'll start a war with some people, but
go ahead. Here's the thing. My opinion might be different than yours. Like, we all have a different opinion on it. I love that about the stores. I get to hear it all. Dude,
but I mean, back in the day,
every trip, lead jig head, blue ice, color don't matter, and they catch their fish. So it's like, I can't tell you you're wrong. I can't tell them they're wrong.
Well, I mean, back in the day, people thought, once that jig passed the walleye, they only had a split second to either bite it or not. But with forward-facing sonar, now we're seeing those fish are turning on baits, even in the Detroit River, following them down the river for quite some time before they do strike it. So
it's not the devil.
I mean, will color matter at that point if they're chasing it down and they see something they like? But I mean, I'm no fisheries biologist or I'm no professional, so I don't. That's out of my realm.
I think there's days. And honestly, like I always joke around, I say I think there's days where it matters and days where it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
I'm almost to the point now where there's times where it matters and times where it doesn't matter, because it could have mattered an hour ago and now it don't matter. Like, get your jig down as fast as you can, but in the next 20 minutes, it might matter again.
When they're crushing baits, it might not matter. I might even catch one on Pimp Daddy when the bite don't matter. I think that might be the only color I've never caught a walleye on.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. You know what? I'd like to see that in the chat. Hey, if you guys are watching, just comment like your favorite color or color pattern. Just drop it below in the comments. We will give away. Should we give away a gift card for Christmas? Sure. We'll give away a $40 gift card to the store. If you comment below, whether it doesn't matter what brand or company it is, just let us know. If it's a Pimp Daddy, if it's a Blue Ice, Jeff says Dunbar. Jeff, what about Doom, bro?
You know what? And to kind of go back to the plastic
$40 gift card, guys, if you drop below your comment or your favorite color. I'm sorry, go ahead, Pete.
And kind of to go back to the plastics game, that's where I do get a lot of my ideas from, is from fishermen. What better way to get a color idea from people that are out there every single day on the river, on the St. Clair River? And hey, I like this, but can you put this with this? And then, sometimes it works out and sometimes it don't, but that's a lot of ways how I get my color patterns. And, fortunately for me, unfortunately for you guys, nobody was really catering to the St. Clair River guys. Everything was the monster of the Detroit River. But what's
new?
Anthony was huge in giving me a couple of good ideas for baits up there, and look what he did with spot tail shiner last year on the St. Clair River. Absolutely,
St. Clair shiner. I think that's one. Yeah, St. Clair shiner he dropped in, but yeah, St. Clair and spot tail. I mean, he was crushing them on them, and we were lucky enough. We had a little team meeting before we did the event at the store, and obviously at the show we did some too, where we could get some baits in our hands and actually put them to use. And I mean, they worked. They worked well, but it's the colors, and that's kind of my question. And I'm probably the worst person to ask. I'm partially colorblind, but where do these colors even come from? I mean, obviously your natural colors are kind of there, but some of these colors are just
yeah. I mean, like I said, it starts out with getting intel from fishermen. And then a lot of times, to be honest with you, it starts on a white napkin. And this, I mean, it sounds crazy, but I'll lay the colorant down on there. I'll sprinkle a little bit of the glitter on the top for the top, and then the belly. A lot of times when I post bait, that's the ones that, look good to me. And then I'll put it out there to get the reaction from from people out on Facebook. But I mean, a lot of times, I don't know. I got buckets around here. That stuff that didn't make the cut. So
yeah. Bring those. I'll take them. I'll use them. Here, I'll give you some of the colors since you can't see the lead. Or can't see the lead. I'm reading Royce. Since you can't see the comments, Roy says lead jigs don't work. Jig colors matter. Coming from a jig maker, I love that. Jeff says Dunbar. Jesse says Doom. Joseph Du Bois says log perch. That's a good one. Natural color. There it is. Doom. Jason Wiegand says antifreeze in a Gulp Shiner or the Tracer or Gold Rush. I agree. Pete Plastix Vampire. Vampire is just like, doesn't matter if it's a floating Rapala and you're hand lining or whipping. Doesn't matter if it's a jig color. Doesn't matter if it's a plastic color. Like Vampire just does it.
And
Larry, Blue Ice. Roy, Motor Oil. Jeff, River Prince. So there's some of your colors now, and I'm sure they'll keep flowing in.
My all-time favorite go-to would be Vampire on a Detroit River. If that watercolor is right,
What's
Vampire's
right?
Vampire's on there.
Yeah. What is the right color to you? Because you do a lot of that lower river fishing. You do a lot of that. And, that comes back to real quick, my ADD in full effect here. But we were speaking of downsizing and natural baits. And I just wanted to mention, like in the Detroit River, a lot of times we go down there because we're trophy hunting. And a lot of times those trophies are old fish. So you got to throw them something different, or you got to throw them something that just kind of throws them off their game, but they also think it's real food. You know what I'm saying? Because those ones typically can be harder to trick just because they're older.
Oh, absolutely, man. Like I said, I love fishing that sub 10 foot of water in the spring on a Detroit River, when the conditions are right. And a lot of times through the weekdays, you can get into some of those spots where there's a little bit less traffic, and you can really rip up some nice fish during the week on some of those shallow spawning flats at those big females. You hit it right, man, and it's a gold mine, and the right fish are up there, and they're in an abundance also. So,
well, and so like that's kind of what we were getting at there before I went all weird and changed the subject. But the big fish thing is important because I don't think a lot of people realize it's like an old fish. You got to think about big fish are old smart fish, so they're big for a reason.
I've seen it all.
Yeah. When you talk about the conditions setting up right, like what is that perfect watercolor? Because obviously it's stained. You don't want clean, but what is too dirty and what is like that perfect, match for you?
Like again, I'm no expert, but I mean, if your jig's disappearing and roughly with some of your brightest colors in 6 inches of water, obviously, that's pretty wiped out to me. I mean, everybody's got that feel. You want that green tint to the water. Once it starts to get brown, then you're losing that jig fish. You know what I mean? You're switching over, like guys switching over to hand lining and all that stuff. But you can. Everybody has many years.
You put your trolling motor in the water and it disappeared.
Yeah, that was the age-old saying. If you could see your cavitation plate, it was jiggable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was it. You could catch them on a jig, and then from there after that you do the hand lining thing. But I mean, to me, my favorite way to catch a walleye is early spring on a jig, less than 10 foot of water. Some of those hits from those bigger fish in that shallow water is just, there's nothing like it.
Dude, it's insane that jig it up off the bottom, quick pause, and then just the fish hits it so hard it sets the hook itself. It's like, yep, we're here.
And then some tournaments this year are they're banning live bait and going with artificials only. So I think a lot more guys might be trying to go to that natural colored baits this year, natural colored jigs. I'm one for a jig color does matter. I try to either contrast the two or match them together.
Yeah.
So that's why we got to get your buddy Roy Millard here to start matching up some plastics, and we'll have a combo together.
Yeah, you've seen some of those. You've got some of those pictures for what's coming to the show. What's coming to the show. Dave makes a good point. He says fish have to see it to eat it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, the fish.
If color doesn't matter, I can make a whole bunch of clear baits with no pigment in them. And
that's Jeff says Casper. Do you have a Casper right there?
I have the opposite of. I have the no-see-em.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really.
There you go. It was hilarious. So for those of you guys that are in the chat that weren't there for that white bait kind of set the bait shop ablaze when we when we had that event. Everybody, you got the white bait. You got that white bait. I mean, Cuffer came in. You had a couple samples, and Cuffer came in and bought you out all of them. Well, I know Morris Cheney was going to bag you for some.
Well, what's neat about this bait is the actual powder, the coloring in this is when it's backdrop off a little bit dirtier of a water. As you can see, remember in the minnow tank, the test we did that day, it actually, you can't really see the color now until it's in a little bit dirtier water. You're thinking maybe this is I think this could be utilized in both your clean and your little bit dirtier water, because the backdrop on a darker back is going to illuminate the coloring in this bait.
Yeah, and that bait is going to fish differently in clear water than it is in stained water than it is in dirty water, especially with that gold flake in there. Gold, anytime that water gets tinted, I always end up leaning towards gold. Like especially down in Detroit, it's like, man.
Yeah, usually, vampire, Canadian vampire, usually those are on 1 or 2 jigs or 2 rods ready to rock. And then, I think I came up with Doom like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And then that and dirty water was just, man, lights out. And then, new for this year, we'll have Havoc.
Yeah.
Kind of somewhat.
Hold on, dude. You didn't tell me that was coming. I got this button now. Look at this. Boom. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. That'll be a really good one.
Few other goodies. I don't know how many colors I'm up to now. I'm trying to pace myself on one. Starts off at 5, and then it's 10, and then it's 15, and then, man, a couple more of these, couple more of those. Next thing you know, but the staples will be there. I mean, we're going to shed a couple that really didn't live up to the hype last year, but I'm confident what I got putting together this year will be good for all. A little bit of everything, some Detroit powerhouses, and for that cleaner water for the St. Clair River, and kind of a mix of
touch it all, man. And now, especially like real quick, Joe kind of said the same thing. He said, darker plastics or baits is my go-to if the water's dirty, and 100% dark, 100%, so that fish can really kind of line it up. That's ironic. Carlson's calling Roy an artist.
Yeah, it's all in confidence too, man. There's gonna be 5 people on the boat and 5 different baits on the boat, and if as well as I do, if I make one pass and I don't catch a fish on something that I changed up on and I'm not confident in, it was the bait's fault. It wasn't my fault, or
it's never
my boat control. It was the bait's fault, and
it was the pressure. Pressure's too high. Sun wasn't right. It's never it can't be our fault.
No.
But yeah, that and speaking of that rose gold bait that we were talking about, hold that back up, because that's another profile we're bringing to the show. Wait. Okay, go ahead. Boom. I'm having too much fun. The Rip Wrap. So it's gonna be a 3.8-inch paddle tail. Why don't you talk a little bit about that before we keep going?
I had a small quantity at the fishing show, but I think they were sold out before the show even opened both mornings. I don't even know if realistically anybody even got their hands on them. But I mean, obviously we've seen the interest in that, so I beefed up, got a couple more molds, and just added that to the lineup. And all the colors will be offered in the 4-inch, and most will be offered in the 3 and the 3.8-inch Rip Wrap. So not all colors will be in every single bait, because some of them don't look. I don't really care for them in the paddle tail or the 3-inch, but for the 4-inch tracer, I think that they look good in all those. But a lot of the natural colors in the Rip Wrap.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we talked about. Was it is interesting to see how the color profiles change on the baits because of the size of the bait or the way the bait's shaped. Like, you have that Gobilicious color in a 4-inch, which is a beautiful bait, and then you sent the picture of it in a 3-inch, and I'm like, yup, and it's just a different profile and the way the baits are kind of reflecting or reacting off each other. But it is.
And then I don't know how much time you've had to use the 3/8 and like the 3.8-inch Rip Wrap in extremely clear water, but with some of the the hyper shift and color shift colorants that I use in some of my baits, with the way the Rip Wrap rolls and the good tail wag, you can really see that color shift in this bait just simply on a quick reel. But I mean, back when I was up on Thunder Bay this year fishing some of that, how that is up there. It's like drinking water, and just to get the real full effect of the color shift up there is just like, man, it's anybody that sees an emerald shiner school or threadfin shad or gizzard shad, they all got that shimmer to them where it's shifting. And You know, the color shift powders that are out today are they're phenomenal, man. It's crazy what we can put in baits now as opposed to even 5 years ago. You can
It's
you can get it pretty realistic.
And you guys, all you smaller companies, I think that's where you guys all have the upper hand. Guys like you, and you got Lure Lipstick, and I feel bad even starting this because I'm going to name the plastics we got in our store. But guys 100%,
like you, go
guys
ahead.
like Lipstick, guys like Wyandotte, guys like Thump 'em, like you guys have the ability. The big conglomerates aren't going to do that, and we were kind of talking about that. And everybody in this industry, everybody has like kind of their section, and those bigger companies are starting to come out with like jerk shads or tracer shads, but the colors just aren't going to be the same. You know what I mean? Like you guys, you local pourers have a lot. You got the upper hand getting to play with that stuff for sure. Don't you think?
100%. Like I said, I'm taking intel from the actual people that are out on the water day in and day out. And, there's a lot of fishermen that are way better than I am. And I take their word for it on what they want in a bait. And I try to deliver that to them. And if it works, we'll go with it. I'll put it into production, and by no means am I a full production plastics maker, but I do my best. I put my heart and soul into whatever I make, and everything that I pull out. Every single bait goes through my hand. I'm inspected. So, and when it gets bagged, I try to make sure the best that I'm putting the best thing that I could possibly put in the fisherman's hands as far as, tournament quality baits.
Yeah. And I think our guys know that. Like, I think our customers, and when I say our customers, I mean like this entire area, like from Lake Huron all the way down. Like, I think our industry and our customers like really know that. I think it's with every small company, because it's incredible the amount of support that we'll see like in the store with all the smaller companies, and they understand that, dude. And it's like, it is cool to see, because again, you can't do everything, but you can do something. And so you just got to figure out, where that is in the industry,
Oh yeah. I mean, it's enjoyable working with all the other companies and seeing their ideas and like Lure Lipstick came out with the log perch, which is huge, man. They kind of forefronted that whole cult following on that. And
all the painted baits, all the they took the time into every single bait. If you've seen them laid out there, hand painted, like the work they put into them, it's like, dude. So
I carry those products in my box too, because there's going to be times that the stuff that I make myself, I'm like, man, this sucks. It ain't catching nothing off this. But as big as, I'm going to go all the way up to, Saginaw Bay, Saginaw River, St. Clair River. That whole fishery from there to there is one big, huge monster.
Oh.
And there's no way any one of us could control that whole market to beat each other up over it. It's too big, man. It's
just not worth it. Yeah, it's just not worth it. It's like you said, it's crazy when you look at that and all the different options and everything like that.
You got to have the options. Not everybody, and I can't carry every single option there is at this point in the business to try to carry all these different molds.
No, exactly. Well, and that's the other thing. And like, that goes back to, the Lure Lipstick thing, but like all like a lot of the times you guys are all using like a different profile of bait. And that's what's so nice about it.
Yeah. I mean, so
go ahead.
We got, here's a typical tracer mold. So it's just 4 cavities. I mean, I have 25 of these. So I got, I can shoot 25 molds. That's 100 baits and through the shooting star, but I don't have a Zorn machine where I'm putting together, 150, 200 baits at a crack. So, that's where my production's at.
Well, yeah, exactly. That is your production. Real quick, I don't want to get too far. Joe asked, Pete, are you going to be at the show this year? That way I can come get some baits. So Joe, I assume you're talking to that Pete, because he's got more interesting stuff going on here. But yeah, Pete's going to be with us in the Hook One booth. We're going to be splitting a booth with Mags. So if you find the big Hook One flag or the Mags flag, you'll find us. Pete, you're going to have thousands of bags ready this year. I mean, last year you almost sold out on a Thursday.
Yeah, it was overwhelming, and it was cool to see, what I mean, the interest in the product, you know what I mean. I didn't think it was going to go that route, but
overwhelming is the right word. I was very surprised. I could tell by your Facebook post that there was a lot of interest in it. And when we do the show, you get those real serious guys that are coming in to get good stuff. Like that's what they want. So it was absolutely hilarious. I looked up and I'm just like, dude, and like I felt bad. I had a customer come in the store the other day and he's like, hey, do you have any more of those plastics? And I was like, just wait. He's getting thousands of bags poured and we'll be ready to go. Because we want to do, we can kind of chat a little bit about it, but like we want to do a few things. We want to do the fishing show. We're hoping to have you out at our Derby sign-up party in February. We throw the big Derby. Every year we throw the big Derby on the St. Clair River to see who's going to be the king of the river. So we want to have you at that sign-up party. And then on April 19th, we've got our St. Clair River Spring Bash, which is like the big walleye
second annual.
Oh, it's second annual, dude. So we throw that on with the mini storage and Rose Marine. And that was an incredible event last year. So we want to have you down for that. And you were there with us and got to see it. I really appreciate your help. But it was a really good tournament. We're going to up the field this year. We're going to get some more boats in that thing. But we want to have you there too. So the production started a while ago. But for you guys worried about not getting baits, I do think we are going to have a good selection for sure.
Yeah, just kind of an announcement on this page right now. I do get a lot of posts like, can I get some now? Get some now. I appreciate everybody wanting them. And, I'm trying to build inventory for the fishing shows. I got a lot of stuff. So I would appreciate it if you guys came out to the Hook One booth and, supported Pete. And, you got Roy from Fat Boy. He'll be in the booth. And Josh from JT Custom Tackle will be in the booth. So, if you can come out and support us all at one shot, I'd appreciate that. And then, as always, after the show's over with, they'll be in-house at Hook One. As of right now, you are the main supplier of Pete Plastix, Pappas Plastix. So, and I appreciate that. You kind of got me into this.
It's been really cool, dude. It's been really cool. It's been a lot of fun.
No, absolutely. It's been awesome, man, so far. And I enjoy making the baits and, and people going out there and catching them and putting good catches together on them. It means a lot. We did
that open house. We did that open house on a Saturday. And we did it. We started at 7 a.m. and guys were there at 6:30. I think Big Don was there. But most of the guys were showing up about 10 minutes early. And guys came in and just smoked us, dude. They bought. So we sold. It was over. I believe it was like, well, I don't know. We sold a lot. And guys were sending us pictures on like that day. Like 2 hours later, they're sending us pictures crushing fish in Detroit and on the St. Clair River with your baits. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, obviously, they had them from the show, but those guys were coming up, buying those baits, and then going back down because I'm only 40 minutes from the Alter Road launch. So I'm not that far. Everybody thinks we're out in the middle of nowhere in Marine City.
No, and a lot of people that haven't made, my fault myself too. I've never really made it up to the St. Clair River because of the beast I have in my backyard right here, being the Detroit River. But
Lake Erie, just like there.
I definitely want to come up and the diverse fishery that the St. Clair River has, man. It really opened my eyes seeing the pictures that you were sending. I mean, coho in the box, steelhead in the box, Atlantic's in the box, just a wide variety of fish. And
that's where these, like especially the natural baits, play a huge role because those silverfish and everything can be a lot more finicky. But when you can go out there and you can catch a box of, 3 to 5 pound walleye, couple whitefish, couple coho, if you get into a school, more than a couple coho, maybe a steelhead, maybe an Atlantic, maybe a lake trout if you're on the north end of the river. But a lot of those fish are super finicky on well, unless it's a lake trout, you can throw white at it. But a lot of like those silverfish, they like their bright oranges and greens. I'm not saying they don't. But like a natural minnow, like something like that, like
absolutely.
Captain Nick's in the chat. He says Pete's Plastix last, and they got amazing colors. Nick's been putting those to work. Recently, I saw on Facebook.
And that means a lot from that guy. That's probably one of the best sticks on the Detroit River, man. It's if he ain't catching them, nobody's catching them.
His lives are always fun to watch. I'm always sitting there stuck behind the freaking register watching Facebook lives of these guys, and I'm just like, God damn it, I do myself.
Yeah, I got to put those down if I'm at work. You get depressed real fast watching people smoke big fish after big fish, and you're stuck at work.
I know. I know. I'll be interested to see, too, how a lot more of these things play. You know, you mentioned something a little earlier. I just wanted to touch on this before we get out of here because I noticed some of the guys in the chat like to tournament fish. I always like to ruffle some feathers and kind of see where we're at with everything, right? Why not? The live bait thing, I think, is pretty interesting. And I heard a really cool podcast. Eric, I'll get to your question in 1 second. Eric just opened a can of worms. Now, let's go to that first. Are you going to have tubes at the show?
What's that?
Are you going to bring tubes?
For a handful of people, maybe. I really don't feel comfortable bringing out. I mean, Eric did test some last year.
You'll have samples.
Yes.
To see if it's something worth pursuing.
I want to, before I even dabble into that, I'd like to get some into the hands of Pat up in you know what I mean? Let him take them out and just beat them all. I like, before I even bring anything out and really try to put forth the market, I want people to beat it up and let me know, give me their honest.
Dude, here's the thing. I don't think well, a lot of people in this chat understand it because I can see the names coming through. But a lot of people like a bait usually is like, you know, at least a year, but it's usually like two years or more in the making because there's so much, like, if you want it done right, there's so much testing and developing that needs to be done and tweaked and this and that, because you can't put, that's one thing with small businesses. You can't put something that's not finished out on the market. It could crush your business. It could, and not that I'm saying it would crush your business, but it just would not be good. Like, you would not want to deal with that.
No, and that's, all my recipes and everything is based off of, it's no secret, Dead on Plastics crawl tube blend. That's my bread and butter that I use for all my baits. And for me, if I was to switch to anything else without, putting it through the ringers or putting it in a handful of people's hands and letting them let me know, I don't want to, because I've already been using this type of plastic for the last 6 years, and I've been impressed with it. And everybody else that's, had their, which there's a ton of other plastic manufacturers out there that are, they got a good brand too. But I mean, everything's based off of what I wouldn't feel comfortable switching without testing, like you said. As far as the bait profile goes, I mean, that could be going either way. But as far as raw materials go, I wouldn't feel comfortable switching up on those.
No, not at all. Not at all. Hey, real quick, for anyone that's new in the chat, guys, all I'm asking you to do is drop below your favorite color or color pattern in the comments. Right after we get done with this conversation, I'm going to pick a winner. I can send you a $40 gift card, get you squared away with something for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the holiday season. I appreciate you guys joining us tonight. So back to the tournament thing. I think it would be a really good idea for tournaments, walleye tournaments, to get rid of live bait. And I know what a crazy thing that sounds, but there was a really cool podcast that had Dewey Chelm and Brett Carlson on there, two big guys, obviously, in the industry. It's been a conversation for a long time in the walleye world. And I know it's tough, especially when it comes to like pulling crawler harnesses and pulling spinners and stuff. But I just think it would do a lot. I think it would do a lot for the industry and for bait making, and especially for guys like you and those guys that are making a lot of those natural color patterns. I just think it would do a lot for the industry if guys weren't throwing, crawlers all day, every day, or emerald shiners all day, every day.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I do tournament fish, but am I at the upper level? No, but
You fished a lot more. You fished a lot more. So you could, you have seen, I mean, dude, you were following way back in the PWT day. I say way back, but you were following back in the PWT days. And it's like, so you've seen this change, but as the walleye industry changes and it seems like we're very stagnant, dude, the bass industry is just through the roof. I mean, and obviously bass fishing is much bigger. It's a much broader spectrum of people from all over the world. So obviously it's different than walleye fishing, but I just think that or at least limit live bait, maybe certain tournaments you can run it, certain tournaments you can't. It's so many people want to bag. And again, I don't think we have time for this argument. So many people want to bag and tag the live scope. And I think in the walleye industry, we got to look at live bait first. I think it gives you guys a lot better of an opportunity to crush.
Maybe there's a give and a take, with the live bait. If you're going to continue to use forward facing sonar, maybe get rid of the live bait and just force people to use artificial. But like you said, there could be different venues to where you could allow live bait. But
like they go to lacrosse this year in April or whatever it was, right? Like you got to use live. You don't have to, but like you kind of got to use live bait. You got to use the Mad Cats. It's like, I don't know. It's super controversial. It's not something that you're going to solve. When me and you talk about making baits and how you come up with these different colors and these different profiles, or if you're going to color shift them or not, it all comes down to like what looks the most realistic. So the best way to showcase that would be to get rid of the real thing.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, the bass guys have done it forever.
And they're the best sticks. Like, I mean, obviously, like you've got some, are they the best ever? No, there's no such thing. And I will fight that till I die. There's no such thing. But
and,
generally, they got them. Go ahead.
During tournaments, like me and Roy will discuss sometimes too, is if there's 100 boats in the field and you kill live bait all together, well, everybody's fishing the same circumstances. So, it's not like anybody's at a disadvantage. You guys are all fishing no live bait. So
borders wouldn't matter, all that sort of fun stuff. I mean, again, we don't have the time to get into it. It's just one of those things I thought was interesting and thought it would be something like, I just think it gives the plastics industry and it gives those guys a little bit better chance. That's
already been said by some of the top heads in the industry. You know what I mean? If they get rid of the crawler, it would increase the walleye side.
Oh, it ain't the first time I've heard that. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's been talked about for sure. And I think it's talked about by a lot of us. And I think it honestly, like, look at some of the controversies that have happened in tournaments, whether they're local or national. It's like a lot of it has to do with live bait because it's so much gray area. Like,
well, especially when you're dealing with an international border right next door, there's a lot of, you call this agency no crawlers where they can't be in dirt, or minnows. You can have minnows, but they can't be in water.
They're not even on the same page. Like,
no,
you talked to 3 different law enforcement officials over there and got 3 different answers. So it's like, okay, I mean, that makes it pretty tough. You don't want to make the wrong decision, and it's not even the internet. I mean, it is the international border, but there's certain states that don't allow you to cross state lines with certain bait. And it's just, I think it's a big headache. I think it puts the people that are in charge of the tournament in tough hands. I mean, we run into it every year because of where Canada is. And we ran into it at the St. Clair River Bash. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, it'd almost be a no-brainer if I was a
bait or not. And it's like, well, the problem is it's such a confidence piece too. I mean, there are times when it really matters, but it's such a confidence piece.
Yes, a lot of people, will state that live bait don't matter, and sometimes on a Detroit River, you can watch a guy just pummel you with minnows if you don't have any. But I mean, realistically, Pete, it's for 2 days, man, in a tournament. And if it keeps everybody honest and you just whack live bait for 2 days, what's what I mean? Let's have it. Let's see who the best is without live bait.
The whole field. It's not like you're going out there meat fishing or whatever. The whole field's kind of, they got it. Everyone's got to do it together. I just think it'd be really cool. I think the bait production in this business would go crazy far. I mean, dude, how many? I don't know. I don't want to go too crazy on this, especially on a live, but it's like, how many Erie Dearies are we going to throw? And it's no offense to any of the other companies. They all make great products and every product is different. And we've used them. And I've used them on St. Clair. I've used them up on Huron. We threw a bunch of them when I was up there fishing the National Walleye Tour with our guys, all the different search baits and stuff like that, but it's all an Erie Dearie. It's a jig head and a hook.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm no big wig in the industry, but I think the walleye side could use a little bit of revitalization. You know what I mean? As far as rules and regulations, and not really start over with a clean slate, but maybe start over a little bit and see what do you got to lose?
The walleye tournament industry has to do something because there's just, it's not good. And that's not really even a secret. That's not it. I mean, you got the pros going on podcasts talking crazy. You've got us seeing it from the backside of things, and there's other people trying to get into it. And honestly, like if you're one of those guys that are fishing it, like it really is good to just fish a lot of those state tournaments. You got guys over in Wisconsin. It's like, I don't know. It'll be interesting for sure. But like I said, I think it goes back to, Jesse says, who actually wants to, let me see if I can do this here. Who actually just dipped their hands in the middle bucket in April anyway? Oh my God, dude. I think Jesse, I think you're spot on. Maybe that's why I'm a live bait hater, is because I'm sick of my fingers not being able to feel it. You know?
Yeah, it's, sometimes in that cleaner water in the Detroit River in that early spring when that water's cold, the minnows matter sometimes. To me, obviously, I see a difference in the bite.
Yeah. Congratulations, Jason. I will shoot me a message, Jason. I'll send you your gift card, brother. I appreciate it. Tracer Gold Rush, badass. I appreciate it. Pete, is there anything else that I missed? Is there anything? So, guys, we're gonna do a whole show episode right probably like mid-December, right before Christmas-ish. So, like, obviously, Pete's gonna be with us at the show. We're gonna have the 4-inch tracer, the 3-inch tracer, and the 3.8-inch Rip Rap paddle tail. We'll have some colors. We're not gonna release any new colors now because we're gonna dial that in and release them there right before the show when we do another one. But guys, if you got any last minute questions, please throw them through the chat real quick. We can ask Pete and repeat here. We can get that taken care of. But Pete, is there anything else that you kind of want to add about any of this, or is there anything that I missed?
No, thanks everybody for tuning in to the live, supporting me and Pete and, Roy over at Fat Boy and everybody that's kind of in the Hook One gang over there. And, come see us at the show. You're not obligated to buy anything, but come talk fishing and, give me some ideas on some plastics and, what you'd like to see in the future as far as colors or whatever. And, just swing on by and it's a good time.
Yeah.
But, I appreciate everybody sticking around and tuning in for the live. And
yeah, so if you're here through, because we shared this live on a couple different pages. Dave wants to know if Roy's going to have any 2-ounce jigs that people are using on Detroit. Dave's going to get somebody in trouble. He threw me off. Yeah. So guys, we shared it on a couple different platforms here. So if you're here on my page and you don't follow Pete, you can follow. I'm going to put it below in the comments. You can follow his page right here at P Plastix LLC. You can search that in the search bar and you'll be able to follow that. And you can see some of the patterns that he's coming up with. Pete does a good job kind of updating on what's going on and stuff like that. So you can see some of his new patterns, some of his test patterns and everything like that. Just know that you guys are in good hands. We've got some good things coming. We've got some really exciting things coming for sure. Other than that, man, y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. I guess the only other question that I wanted to ask before I got out of here was like, what did you guys as viewers think about this? Do you guys enjoy this, this layout a little bit more? I like the interaction a little bit more than doing a podcast. Me and Pete kind of tossed it back and forth. Like, should we do a live or should we do a podcast? I will clip this thing down and post it on YouTube and Spotify and stuff for a podcast. If you want to go back. But I would really like to do after the holidays and probably after the show, I'd really like to do like one of these a week and kind of get us through fishing season where I jump on. We'll have guests all over from all over the place and do this. But and we'll still do podcasts, but just let me know what you think. Let me go through these real quick. Roy, Walleye Roundtable at the show, 100,000%. There's going to be so many guys there. We'll get the Mags crew on board. We're going to get, obviously, Pete will be there. Jeff will be there. Chase will be there. We'll have the electronics man on the scene. Pete, can you see the comments when I flash these? Jeff's got a question.
Haven't seen him in a few days.
It's getting cold. Jesse says he's blue balling us with the bait picks. Maybe that's what we should call that bait. Blue baller.
No, and like I try to explain to people, it's never put out intentionally to tease people. I just kind of get, honest feedback on, how many likes, and there's a couple other pages I belong to. And if, that bait gets an overwhelming response, well, then I'll put forth an effort to, put it in the production line. But
yeah, I think that's totally normal. And honestly, I love that about Facebook, because you can see if it's worth it or not. Because honestly, dude, it's like if you come up with a color that's not worth doing, then why even spend the time doing it when we could crank out these colors that we know are going to go blue baller and stuff, Yeah, Ed'll be there. Ed'll be there with Misfit with some crawler harnesses. Yeah, we're definitely doing the Walleye Roundtable. Dude, I can't wait for the show. I can't get too excited right now.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to put anything out there, but I'm gonna try to get a few people into the booth that pertains to the whole plastic side of the business. You know, if people are interested in learning a little bit more about plastics, you know, by all means, I don't have a problem with letting people know on, you know, the operation or whatever that. But do I give out specific recipes? No, but I mean, the do it yourself plastics is out there, man. It's to dabble into it. It's easy to get into now. So
as you were saying that, this is the comment that came through.
Yeah.
So it no, and honestly, dude, it is what it is. But Pete, I really appreciate you jumping on here. We did want to keep it a little shorter. Jason says on there, I don't always have an hour to watch podcasts, and here we are at 52 minutes. I did not think it'd go that long, but we would like to say that with you guys joining it, obviously, I told Pete it might be 35 minutes if we didn't get any comments come through here. So I'm glad that people stopped through to watch. Anthony,
no, as always, Pete, man, thanks for your support, man. I wouldn't realistically be doing this if you didn't twist my arm that day and make me start making baits. But now that I'm in it, dude, it's a great feeling. It's you know, oh, and you know, new for this year too.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we got the new packaging.
Oh, I'm late. Shit.
So a little bit more professional look than what I had last year. So, you know, that goes with the growing with the business.
Yeah.
So
no, the packaging looks great. It's going to fit on the shelf a lot better. I can already see right there how it's going to be looking at the show. Because that's the exact rack that I'll have at the show.
Yeah.
But no, man, like I said, I really appreciate it. I appreciate taking the time out. Guys, I appreciate the heck out of you for joining and getting to see and talk with all of our friends. Wishing you all a happy Thanksgiving. And yeah, we probably won't do one. No, we probably will. We'll do one of these next week. We'll jump on Facebook Live and have one of these. Again, I'll put this up on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere you guys get your podcasts in case you want to, I don't know, re-listen to it. Go on YouTube and look at Pete and Repeat's ugly mugs. And yeah. All right, Pete. Happy Thanksgiving, brother. I appreciate it. Stick around for a second. We'll make sure all this uploads on the back end of things. And then, guys, good night. Good fishing. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.